Well, hey, everybody. It was so great to come together this weekend in Atlanta and great to share this amazing gift that we have, Optavia, and share our gifts, some of the stories and things that we brought together to our audience. And our purpose was to create community. So it was so cool to be able to share this with the rest of the community, Optavia coaches. And so I'm just going to turn it over to Dee Corchin to share a little bit more about what the purpose of this act that we created and how we're going to do that this weekend or this week.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks you guys for coming on tonight. We know we changed gears and changed nights, so thanks for your flexibility with that. And we had an event this past Saturday in Atlanta, and the training was really great, if we do say so ourselves, but that's based on feedback that we got. And Nicole and Susan and I really linked arms and our brains together in trying to create something that we really helped would move everybody forward, regardless if somebody was a health coach or not, that would move them forward. And then if you were going to become a health coach, some good fundamental skills and knowledge and mindset that would help to build a stable, growing business. So we know sometimes you don't live close to Atlanta, or maybe you had a conflict that day and you couldn't be there. So we decided to join forces for the next 3 weeks and bring to you what we brought that day, which we felt so blessed to be able to share. So we're going to kick off tonight with Nicole Deward. I think she's going to have some guests speaking with her. I think Joy will be with her. And, Nicole is phenomenal at what she does, really being able to get into the heartbeat and the pulse of Optavia and be able to bring that out in people and help awaken people into their next step. So it's only fitting that she'll take this first section on Awaken. And I'm honored to introduce Nicole Deward, my good friend and running partner.
Yay, thank you. This is awesome. We felt like this power team, right? Oh, you're going to screen share for me. I was all ready to do it. Sweet. Thanks, Susan. We were excited to be able to share together because what we are learning is that there's strength in numbers. And sometimes we do things differently, but what we bring to the table and when we partner with one another, we can really be a powerful team. And so it was awesome. I think our count was at 90. I don't know how many were actually in the room, but you could feel the power of so many people that were there to be awakened to what's possible. Because isn't that where it all starts in the beginning, right? Is really having this awareness level of what it is we want to reach for. If you think about transformation, you can have a physical transformation, you can have a mental transformation, you can have a financial transformation. How awesome that as Optavians, we get to assist so many people in achieving all of those. You'll find as you connect with people well, as you're listening to what they need, you may want to deliver what it is they're looking for, and it takes you setting your agenda aside to be able to awaken them to what's possible for them. I've had several coach explorers and calls this week, and calls from my coaches asking about, okay, how do I talk to this person? This is a potential call. And my advice is pretty similar. I use the verbiage, find out what's important to them. Find out what brought them to the call. Find out what's on their heart. Find out how you can serve. On the call on Monday night, my favorite line, I believe it was Jamil. It was when Jamil and Jan were talking. And he said, how can my soul serve another? And I loved that verbiage. What that is how can, it's kind of that idea of when we love people unconditionally, our goal in our heart is to build a bridge into their soul, right? So the only way we're going to truly connect on that visceral level is to be able to build a bridge. And people are full of walls and resistance because of life. And when we can truly take people where they are, not where we want them to be, not what we see for them. And right here, I am like a recovering, right? I'm in Recoverers Anonymous, that's not super anonymous anymore, that I want to be the hero. I want to rescue everyone from themselves. But what I found is that the more I ask questions and awaken a potential, the potential inside another, they can truly rise to the occasion and step into their own greatness, not the greatness that I think they have. But the cool thing is that as they're stepping into their greatness, it's better than what I could have envisioned for them. So here we are with Awaken Potential, transform masterfully. It's an art form, really. And the more coaching I get, the more I receive, because, right, you have to be open to coaching. It's not something that is like, somebody gives you a gift and you've got to decide what to do with it. So coaching is a lot like that. You have to come to the table with a willing and open heart to be able to receive, and then there's this place of imprinting on your life to be able to move forward. So that awakening comes from wanting something more, and most of us in our life, hopefully before Optavia, right? If we're giving our story and talking about before Optavia, I was walking around asleep, not aware, not observant, missing so much of life. And what Optavia has done for many of us is that place of awakening. So I want you to envision, or even do, right? I feel I can only see 4 boxes, and instead of I'm going to see if I can put on gallery view, because I don't need to see I don't think it's going to let me. No. Now I just see D. But screen share, you can only see a few boxes, but that's okay. I love to see all your faces. So you'll just have to send me chats. Thank you, Liz, for sending chats through. And I encourage you to take notes. There are some things that are going to land for you that's going to be different for other people. So I encourage you to take notes in the chat, because something that's said as you're taking notes may resonate, but you might miss it. And so you can all help each other out as this lands for you and what is meaningful, or maybe even something that triggers for you that you think about during this talk. But in the comfort of your own home, it's a great part about Zoom is right where you are. I want you to go ahead and sit up tall in your chair. Some of you I can't see that are doing this, I'm sure. So you might need to even adjust your webcam, right? If you sit up tall. And I want you to lift your shoulders as you inhale and roll those shoulders back. And think about those shoulder blades going right in their back pockets. So you're going to inhale up and exhale down and really put those shoulder blades in their back pockets. And what you can already feel is this awakening inside your core and your posture. And it really changes things when you're walking around wide awake. Now I can be fully present and observant to what's around me versus walking around life like this. So many of the world is sitting at a desk. Most of us are sitting at some sort of a desk right now. And we have the choice of the posture that we have. And you'll show up differently when you have a posture that shows up fully aware and present and active. So I recommend and encourage you, while you're walking around life, remember that Optavia has been shared with you as a gift, and you can walk around instead of walking around asleep. Be someone that walks around fully alive and present, because you've been awakened to what's possible. But just because we've been awakened to what's possible, sometimes the mistake many of us make, right, is to try and go shake everybody else to see if we can get them awake too. Like, can't believe you're missing this. Like, you got to be awake. You got to get it. Let me tell you about this. And that's not typically the best option. I don't know if any of you have teenagers, but if you've ever tried to wake up your teenager that way, it really doesn't go over well. You're pretty much not the favorite parent when you do this. And so, much like people in our life, man, isn't it great when someone is super aware that we're changing and they want to know what's different about us? There's a place there that they're interested. They want to know, and we can ask them, because even at that point, right, we all want to go, I can't wait to tell you, I've been waiting this whole time to tell you it's different. But I can say, oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're seeing some changes. I am really working on some things. What stood out to you the most? Because right away, we still want to stay in that place of being awakened to what's more important, which is what's possible for them. And as we help enough people get what they want, lo and behold, we get what we want. So, all right, we're going to move forward into our first slide around bookends. You know, I was thinking this talk was going to go so much quicker because I don't have props to do in my little screen. But I want to talk a little bit about magic bookends. How you start and how you finish is really what's important. In fact, I was just cleaning up dinner with my kids, and there was some washing of dishes going on and cleaning the table and the stove. You know, they all have a chore. And one of my kids said, "Is this mom approved?" And I said, "I don't know. You tell me. Is that mom approved?" Because I heard something my coach said yesterday, and he said, "Always remember that how you do anything is how you'll do everything." So it's resonated with me, and my kids were like, huh? And as you start to marinate on that a little bit, how you do anything is how you do everything, it really lends itself to this idea about magic bookends, how you start and how you finish your day. So I want to share a little bit about some routines and practices that I would encourage you to maybe not jump into the deep end of the pool, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do all of these things, but these might be some suggestions that you can make into your life. My life has been extremely impacted by my faith. I came to faith when I was in 4th grade, went through a lot of very trying times in my life with my family. And I know that my faith is what has grounded me and has made me who I am today. But all kinds of relationship takes communication. And so I highly recommend, whatever your belief system, that you spend time in prayer, because without believing that there's something greater than yourself, I believe we can be very lost without being clear that we are not all there is, right? And so spending time in prayer helps connect you to what's greater, and staying connected in your faith and starting and finishing that way really sets the stage and the tone for your day. I'll also recommend thinking about affirmations, how you can start your day on a positive mental note. I hear a lot of different books that people read, and maybe in the chat right now, there's a favorite book that you have that really impacts you. One of my favorites through the years has been called Jesus Calling, because that's really an affirmation that is where my focus is in life. I'm walking hand in hand. But there may be something different for you that kind of sets the tone for your day. There's different mantras, different affirmations around declaring who you are, because the world is going to tell us that we're something else. When you look in the mirror and you've got a giant zit on your face and you've got a major presentation, you tend to have a lot of monkey mind that goes on around what the mirror is telling you. And somehow we make it about our value, right? Our value as a person. And when we stay focused on prayer and affirmation, it helps us remember that it has nothing to do with what goes on the outside, but everything to do with what's going on in our head and what we're saying to ourselves. And so that's why gratitude is another really important aspect of a magic bookend, because how you start your day, how you finish your day, how you do anything is how you'll do everything. So with gratitude, when you are able to really put yourself in a place of being thankful and grateful, it helps keep your focus on what's important and really what matters. And so gratitude also leads us towards what we want instead of away from what we don't want, right? Isn't that what we guide our clients to as well? So when we're working with somebody about how they can move forward, we have to make sure that we're leading them towards what they want. And in their mind, they're really trying to get away from what they don't want. So that's the power of gratitude. It really keeps you grounded in what's important and what you're thankful for. And having a grateful heart really sets the tone for your life. And then the power of why. I would put it to you that this is the best superpower known to man. Being clear about not just what you want, but why you want it. One of my favorite TED Talks is by Simon Sinek, and he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If you haven't seen that Simon Sinek TED Talk, I would highly recommend you take a listen to that. It'll really inspire you around the need for clarity that is essential for you to have in terms of moving forward. I think you went too ahead. Go back one. That's my last slide. So when we're thinking about, actually, if you can go back to the power of why, Susan. So while we were at the event, I had somebody come up and share about their why, and I actually asked several different people. So I want you to consider right now what's in. Susan, why don't you just stop screen share? Just take it off. And then that's fine. I don't need it. I'd rather see everybody's face anyway. If you can just stop screen share, that'd be great. But in terms of the power of why, Susan, just exit screen share. Okay. Oh, wait. Susan, click at the top, exit screen share. Go up at the top and exit. Susan, up at the top, click exit screen share where it says view options.
I see it, but I see stop share, but it's not. Hold on. Is that
there
it?
We go. Thank you. We're good.
Oh, we're good.
Yay! Okay, now I can see everybody anyway. This is fine. Cool. Okay, so in terms of, let's go back to the idea of the power of why. Got to refocus my thought process here. The power of why. So I was asking everybody why, and so in the chat right now, I want you to go ahead and think about something that you want, and then go ahead and in the group chat, go ahead and write why you want it. Something that comes to your mind, because what's powerful is having clarity. And if, let's say, so for example, I want to be a certain percentage body fat. Why? Well, I can't just want to do it because it sounds cool. I can't want it because it's a lot of work, y'all, to get your body fat really low. And it's something I've never done. That's important to me. It's important to me to challenge myself to something that I've never done. Okay? So that's a big why for me. And that might not resonate for you, which is okay. That's why we're all different. I see Marsha wants to be strong. Cindy wants to have peace. Like, these are things that are important at the core of your why. It's important for you to have clarity, and that is the power, your superpower, and to hold on to what that means and how that's going to move you forward in your life is the most impactful superpower you can have. Because at the end of the day, when you put your superpower cape on, there's a really great, you can go online and type in t-shirt cape, and it'll show you how to cut up a t-shirt and make a cape out of it. It's super fun. It's a really great workshop to do. I've done with people for them to write and decorate on the back of a t-shirt what their superpower is. We've actually used duct tape in the past, and use duct tape to like write the words and design their superpower cape. So understanding what that power is that you harness and that you hone, it's imperative for you to go after it, right? Because it can't be what you want now. It's got to be what you want most. And the other day I mentioned to a friend, I said, I have to say that I now know emphatically that there is nothing that tastes as good for a moment as how I feel 24/7. Now, I don't know that I could have told you that a year ago. I might have made some exceptions. Right? So there's always things as you grow in your life that are just a little bit more important, and you inch along the way and you become a better version of yourself all the time. So that's the power of why. And not only do you want to identify that for yourself, but you want to identify what that looks like so that you can help other people to that end. So we talk about the GPS to success. Unfortunately, Joy was not able to attend tonight, but she helped us uncover this vision board. And that's part of the understanding, right, what you want and honing the power of why is understanding how to create vision. I don't know about you, but it's super hard for me to do a little dream creation. That's something I've got to practice, and I've got to set aside time. It takes you closing your eyes and envisioning what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. I remember when I first became a coach, we were doing some mentoring with Ron Gelfs, and I know a lot of you know Ron. Super simple and just cute, and he talks about being a stripper, and he's like 70, mid-70s, I think. He was a furniture stripper, if you didn't know. But what I love about what he said is he said most people will, when you're asking people about what they want, and they say, well, I want to get in this dress. And he said, well, what color is the dress? Where are you wearing the dress? How are you going to feel in the dress? That's vision. Saying that you want to achieve a certain amount of money doesn't usually do it. You've got to unpack what that means for you. What are you going to be able to do with the money? How are you going to feel when you have that, or pay that bill, or go on that trip? Who's going to be with you? Who's going to be celebrating with you? These are all questions, right? The common denominator are the questions that you ask. So vision comes with clarity around questions that we not only ask ourselves, but we ask of other people. And so we can unpack this, and that's where we use the structural tension chart. That's how we use our map. It's all a format to say, here's where I am. So let's unpack that current reality. I had a really great coach conversation today, a woman that's really close to a huge breakthrough. And I said, I'd like to challenge you right now to take out a piece of paper, right? Because we don't want to be limited by finding a form, having them print it out and write or fill out an editable form. So take out a piece of paper, and on the bottom, I want you to describe in detail what your current reality is, how you currently feel. And I want it to be super clear, like all the things that you've said to me, write it all down. And then at the top of the page, I want you to tell me what you want. In 3 months, what do you want to have happen, and how are you going to feel, and who's going to be there? And then in the middle of the paper, I want you to write what needs to happen for that to transpire. And so I recommended this over Marco Polo, which I highly recommend if you don't have the app. Great way to connect with people and do a lot of coaching through that tech. It's a video text app. So I Marco Polo'd this, and I said, I'd love for you to take a picture of it and text it to me, and would you know, within the hour she had it to me. I was a little shocked, to be honest, but it told me that she wants something more than what she has, so she was willing to do what it takes, and what it takes is to have a vision. So vision board, that would be awesome, right? But man, to be clear about what you're working on right now, how it feels right now. And then in her action items, one of the things was, when I want to say screw it, or for those of you who know me, I call it FIP, a little principle that happens. If you just want to forget it, right? She has a game plan, because that's something she struggles with. And so she has a game plan for what she's going to do when that happens. So that's how we use the map for our business and the structural tension chart for our clients. And I'd highly recommend you use those for yourself as a tool to help you move forward. And then to finish up, we talk about how to be consistent on a daily basis. Consistency is key. And I use the word compliance, but sometimes it sounds like a rule. And the rule kind of trips up. How many rule followers are on the line, right? Who likes to follow the rules, right? You read the label, you do what it says. Like, why isn't everybody following the rules? I remember I had a friend in North Carolina that just resisted seatbelts. We'd get in the car and she'd say, I am not going to do what somebody tells me to do. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? You're not going to wear a seatbelt? And she's like, I haven't worn a seatbelt my whole life and nothing's happened. I'm like, you're totally a rebel. It's making me uncomfortable. Put your seatbelt on. So, because I'm a rule follower. But there are many people who aren't rule followers. So you hear compliance and you're like, yeah, I'll show you compliant. Like, you're not going to do that because you don't follow the rules. So I recommend for you people to think about consistency. So the only way you can be consistent doing something is if you set out what it is that you're going to do. So unpacking that a little bit, got to be clear about the it. So if you're going to be consistent doing something, has to be written, has to be accountable, has to be something that's measurable. How do we know if we're getting progress or moving forward, right? Isn't that why we weigh ourselves, measure ourselves, take a picture of ourselves? Like, we have measurements. That's why we don't eyeball our food. How are we going to change how much food we're eating if we don't measure it? How do we know how much right? So if you don't know, you can't make progression because you don't know what you're actually doing. Write it down, track it somehow. And when we resist, don't you know that the very thing you're resisting, right? I want you to think about one thing that you are completely resisting right now. What are you resisting that you're like, I'm not doing that. Totally not doing that. I'll put it to you that one thing will move you forward. If in 24 hours you do something that moves that forward, you will be better for it. That one thing. There's a great book called The One Thing, if you'd like to read it, but it's the principle is the very thing you resist is usually the very thing you need the most. So if you resist structure, being compliant and consistent, definitely recommend. And then to tie it all with a bow, I had this great picture about curiosity, but it's this woman with paint all over her face from a different nationality or from a different culture. And the picture just says, just stay curious. Because not only curious about ourselves, but curious about others, the way we move others forward is to be curious about them, to be interested in their life, to ask them questions about what they're looking for and how you can be of service. I started this call with saying, how can my soul be of service to another soul, right? And when you stay in that place and you consistently make your life in service of others, it takes the spotlight off of you and onto others. I've been listening to the greatest scrolls in the car, and there was this, I listened to audio. I'm much better doing that than reading. It struck me that's talking about, I will multiply my value 100-fold. And one of the key phrases, he says, I will set my goals and I will proclaim them to the world, but of my accomplishments, I will not tell anyone. Those are my own words. That's my own words. I didn't memorize it. Okay. That's what I took from it. And I thought, okay, so we're going to tell everybody what our goals are, but we're not going to what? How do I tell people my goals, but then don't tell them when I achieved them? But the whole point is that the world will see. And how much better is it when people notice and they come alongside you when you're moving forward in your life? They're happy for you, but guess what? They're wanting you to rub off on them. And that's the true measure of being a leader, is when you can impact people on a level that you know is totally not about you. That something in them resonated with something in you, and you have the honor and privilege to link arms and move forward. So thank you for letting my soul serve your soul tonight. I hope your life was enriched. I hope you were inspired to something greater than yourself. And we have a lot of work to do, not only on ourselves, right? But the world really needs us. And we have such an amazing tool. And in joy language, I'll leave you with her term. You have the optive vehicle to do it. So thank you, Susan, for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you for that beauty, your wisdom, your heart, and for being a role model of what's possible. So thank you so much. And tonight we have some great calls at 8 o'clock. Our client support call. These are health professionals that answer client questions. So I recommend for our new coaches, get on there for about a month. Listen to each call about a month, then you'll start hearing the same questions circulate again, but it can really help you deepen your understanding of the program. At 8:30 tonight, and you still have time to text your clients, is Dr. Geraldine Brosfield, who is talking about balancing blood sugar. Balanced blood sugar is a game changer for me. It changed my life, and she is a wonderful speaker, and it will really deepen the understanding of your clients, potential coaches. Invite people on. Again, we have 30 minutes. Just text people. And the other last thing is at 9 o'clock, stay on the same line and hear a trilogy presentation, which talks about, tonight's about entrepreneurs. So who are entrepreneurs and how do they use Optavia to make a difference for others? So Dee, do you want to close us out?
Yes, I would. I just wanted to personally thank Nicole for leading us through this conversation tonight. I want to thank again every one of you guys for investing in yourself. And one of the themes, I forgot to say this at the beginning, was that we realized that in order to better serve others, like we have to be living these principles ourselves. So until we are awakened and have that clarity that Nicole so brilliantly described and know where we're going, and also being willing to recognize, that own thing in ourselves that we might be resisting, when we recognize that's happening in us, it helps us better connect to others, to see it in them, but more importantly, to be able to authentically connect and communicate that. And next week, our topic is connection, how to authentically connect to what you want, connect to other people, and help that connect them to what they want. So you don't want to miss that next week, same time. So thank you, Nicole and Susan, and thanks for everybody being here. We'll see you next week.
Good night.